It's like Suntour in this video. And it's funny because Suntour is completely connected to the beginning of the down tube. It's really funny stuff. So I started out selling old Suntour stuff. Suntour went bankrupt, God only knows. And I guess it was probably, you know, the early 90s, early 90s. And when I was a graduate student and like I started, I guess, in 93. Yeah, I guess maybe mid 90s. Yeah, because it wasn't right away. Anyway, I started buying Suntour parts and I was amazed because I would get these parts, liquidation specials. They would just sell boxes of stuff, you know, and it was really cheap and it was really nice. I mean, I had a decent bike at the time, and I'm like looking at the bike, and I'm looking at the Suntour parts. I'm like, man, these parts are really better. The brakes were like unbelievable. XC Pro brakes were just unbelievable. Thumb shifters were off the chain. The brake levers, XC Pro brake levers were like, whoa. I mean, they were really, really in a class of their own as far as that, like at that time, like 3 decades ago. Just beautiful. Yeah, there were other nice brake levers, but I can say, man, they were special. They were just nice and big and beautiful. I mean, it was like a work of art. The lever was really long, so you can actually hold the end of it, get a lot of leverage. I mean, and same is true about the brakes, the XA Pro brakes. They came in black, and I think it was like a titanium color or champagne color. Just literally like works of art. They were just impeccable. And the shifters are obviously really nice, and the hubs were like the bomb. They had grease guard. I mean, this was really unbelievable stuff. Cassettes were off the chain. They're 8-speed cassettes, and you could pop, little cogs off the cassette if you wanted to change cogs. It was really kind of sweet. It wasn't like one piece. There were 3 pins holding the cassettes. You just pop them out and then do whatever you want to do, and no big deal. And this company, like when you compare and contrast Shimano parts a decade later, if not 2 decades later, compared to Suntour, there's no comparison. Suntour was much higher quality, just ridiculously higher quality. Shimano was really cheesy. The one thing that Shimano had is like on the rear derailleurs, the pulleys would have a little bit of float, which would minimize resistance. But the rear derailleurs were crap compared to the Suntour stuff. And to this day, I don't understand how in the world Shimano got such a dominating position in the industry with an inferior product. It's crazy. And if you look at SRAM, how they started, it's the same story. SRAM's grip shifts were the worst things you could ever get. And they actually turned into a behemoth, which is, I guess it goes to show that, via high risk marketing strategies of paying people to write about you and paying racers to use your goods, in some cases pays off in the most ridiculous ways. It really does. So at the end of the day, if you look at Suntour and Suntour today is not the Suntour I'm talking about, 30 years ago. Suntour 30 years ago was just a work of art. Every bicycle part they made was essentially artistic. It was just beautiful and functional, and it worked great. It's not like it looked good and it didn't work. It was the way things were meant to be. And Shimano's were a lot more flimsy, and I don't mean even in that generation. I mean a generation or 2 generations later, they're still like kind of cheesy. It's weird stuff, really, really weird stuff. I just don't get it. I just, it doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, so Suntour, I think, is, an interesting story of one of the greatest bicycle component manufacturers ever, and how they went bankrupt and all this stuff that preceded my entering the industry. But I'm 100% certain it's kind of funny stuff. It's not possible for the optimal manufacturer to actually go bankrupt, like, with the best stuff. Thank you for watching.